No, I can't say it now. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Another Friday night where you are joining Dr. Carissa and myself, and hopefully another guest or two from our normal panel on a Friday night at 8 o'clock with a sip and chat. So gonna start with our normal greetings and checking in. I would say what I said in the green room with Doc before we came live is that mental health is becoming really, really real. It's always been real for people like Doc and I, but it's really hitting home and hitting into the living room in more ways than people even recognize. So that's interesting in and of itself. So Doc, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I had a pretty good week. Not, as stressful as some weeks can be, especially when you're, working with people and trying to help people. So it's actually been a pretty good week.
Okay.
I'm not extremely tired tonight. I actually have something to sip on this evening.
Okay. Okay. I got it's I ain't even camouflaging it. It's green tea. And it's only green tea. Let me
Ah,
only green tea.
you're no fun tonight.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I have to go off screen, I'll rock it out with you.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I would say the same. The week has been interesting, but here we are with another we think juicy conversation. And definitely it comes from one of our or some of our listeners a few weeks back had shared this topic or had said, no, that's what it was. They had said, I'm sorry. And we were like, don't say sorry. So our conversation this evening is sorry, not sorry. Like, what's some of those relationship expectations and assumptions that you have when you're talking with people? So it could be at work, it could be your friends, it could be in the grocery store. And even as I was people watching after knowing that this is our topic, I was thinking about in traffic, people are not sorry when they cross the street. But then that's in the city. If you're outside the city, because they stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk and outside the city, people are actually cautious and like, can I go? Can I not go? Oh, sorry, thank you. Like, what? What does that mean? What does that actually mean? And how does that play into the roles around like how it is that you exist? So, hey Kim.
Okay.
Hi, how are y'all?
Oh,
Good to
good.
see you.
You
Good to see
too.
y'all too.
Yeah. How's the baby?
Oh, good. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
you
officially
still
9 months on
incubating?
Sunday.
You still incubating?
Yeah, but the baby's been there for a while. It's ready to come out
Okay.
in
Okay.
about another week or so. We'll see.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see.
Excited? Ready?
Yeah, I'm very. Oh yeah. I've been ready. I'm very excited. Yeah,
Nice.
Cool.
I'm ready
Cool.
to get my tripping on, my trips and my new bod. I'm ready to
Okay.
Dang.
get out there in the
Yeah.
sun.
Dang, the baby ain't even breathing on his own yet. You like, I'm out. He's still on life, or she is still on life support.
I
Mhm.
know. And everybody's like, you gonna I don't know. So I'll just find out and be surprised. Either way, I'm good.
Yeah, you see, I had to correct myself. I was like, he or she.
Yeah, because I don't want people to think I told you
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
nobody
corrected
knows.
it. Yeah, no, she didn't tell me nothing. I don't have no secret sauce. Um, we were just introducing the topic, but we definitely needed to welcome you in because we haven't seen your beautiful face.
Yeah, I love the topic.
Is that what made you pop on?
No, I feel better.
Okay, cool.
Okay, that's
But
good.
I definitely the sorry, no sorry, I get that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's been my most of my life.
Oh goodness. Good evening, Facebook user.
Good evening.
Hi.
So Doc, what did you want to share with I guess just setting the tone for the conversation in regards to this? Like I was saying, I was people watching, and in the counties where people traffic stops for pedestrians, the
Mhm.
pedestrian is still saying sorry even though they have the right of way to cross, they're saying sorry before they cross, or my bad, or thank you, or excuse me. Whereas in the city, that it don't quite work that way. And then in grocery stores, I was people watching in the grocery store too, that some cultures just kind of walk in the way, and it's like up to you as a melanated person to say sorry, but they have no care in the world.
I think a lot of it has to do with how you're raised, of
Mm-hmm.
course. And for me, it's just like just normal politeness.
Mm-hmm.
Being polite to people and saying excuse me, thank you, please, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, and as melanated people, oftentimes we are taught that we should be thankful, I
Mm-hmm.
guess is the way to put it,
Mm-hmm.
and that we're in the way.
We're in the way.
We're in the way, and that you should apologize for that.
Mm-hmm.
You should be thankful that your presence is accepted.
Mm.
And yeah, and that I think that a lot of times that makes us say sorry a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, well, I'm sorry for being here. That's kind of what it amounts to
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times.
Now, Net,
Um,
why is your name not showing up, Net? Like, we need to get you some permissions with StreamYard. And the only reason
yes.
I know it's you is because it popped up on my phone at the same time. She said, I'm ready to take notes. I know that's right. Go ahead, Doc. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm done.
No, you're
I
not.
want to hear what you guys think about that. This whole idea that we need to be apologetic all the time because we're in the way. And we need to be thankful that, people acknowledge us.
Mm-hmm. Thankful.
Thankful. Thankful.
I was in
Well, go
go
ahead.
go ahead, Camp, because I really was about to take it somewhere else, which I will bring it, but go ahead.
I was in the grocery store today, just getting little stuff with my cousin, and this white chick.
Uh-oh.
I live in the county. I shop in the county. I shop in the city too, but everybody can see I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm huge. So I'm leaning. I got the small cart, not the big cart, but the small one. I'm leaning and I'm situating myself in the cart. And she goes, "Excuse me." And I didn't move.
Mm-hmm.
She was rude. But she was like, "Excuse." So I looked back kind of over. I moved my cart over, but I didn't move my body. But when she walked past me and see that I'm pregnant, she goes, "Oh, disgusting." What?
Oh my gosh.
Baby, if I was not, I would have grabbed the extensions flowing from her dry scalp. And I'm going to say that. And my cousin was like, I said, "You heard that?" My cousin was like, "Joya, just ignore it."
But why do we have to ignore?
Why should we have to ignore it?
Yeah, I was saying in a general context, but in relation to
I think my cousin was just trying to keep me out of trouble. She was like, "Joya, we don't need any incident."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's not that I didn't move my body. I moved my cart because it was slanted. So I moved it straight. She had all this space to go about. But you don't have to be like, "Oh my gosh, disgusting."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When I stood up and you see I'm pregnant, that's rude. Like, but I didn't say nothing. And then I just kind of looked at her. Like, other people who were white in the store, when they saw me, they said, "Excuse me." I moved my cart and they had no issues. And then the black people just kind of stared at me like, like, as we were moving through the stores. I just thought it's like a weird dynamic. Why do we have to creep? It's a grocery store.
Why do we have to creep?
People have masks on, so that wasn't an issue. It's just like this dynamic. It just reminds me of the dynamic. If somebody else that's not melanated like back in the day, like you had to move to the side off the sidewalk.
Right.
But this is a free aisle. We all shopping to get groceries.
We've
So
always
I
been
thought about it
taught.
like that. Like you can't.
Yes.
The fact that you're present it's not just awkward. But like she acted like I was like tar, like disgusting to her, which she did. But I'm like, I'm not about to school all the time. I'm not doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't rude. I moved my basket and let you pass through, but it was just not a good situation.
But we're taught to be careful in those situations.
Well, careful because we never know what the outcome is going to
Yes,
be.
exactly.
And it makes
Yeah.
me think about some of the conversations, I'm going to say 2020-ish, because it could have been 2021 when people were in Victoria's Secret and recording and like told not to record. And we were expected to apologize to, the fact of recording the individual who was having a meltdown. But we also know, like, if we respond to things in a certain way, that we don't know what the consequence or what's going to be said when and if like authorities are called into any situation. We're already
Or
at a
done.
disadvantage.
Or
Huh?
done.
We're
Or done.
Right.
Mhm.
No matter what credentials we bring into the conversation, what logic we bring into the conversation, we're automatically done by the judgment of you walking up and seeing the dynamic of ethnicity. It's like a power dynamic.
You're right, and I almost got ran over today in the parking lot because I'm walking out the car, going into a restaurant, and this another white woman she sped up on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Then my cousin turned and looked at her, and I was like, "Oh no, I can always get $1,000,000. I'm ready." I said, "I'm ready to stay home." Yeah, she. I said, "I have the case. I'm not much pregnant." So the woman, like we were cat corner, and when my cousin like walked in front of me, and then she kind of saw me from an angle, then she slowed down and smiled. But before that, she wasn't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So just the thing, like just being present, it kind of deters people. Like it's a thing for people, and I don't know why.
So that's what I was going to say a little bit earlier. Like I had a conversation with a colleague who he identifies as having privilege. He's a white, cisgendered man. He's a clinician, so he understands, I guess like the whole Black Lives Matter. But we were having like a very rich conversation around permission, and he was like, it's like people who look like him. He said that they just basically don't want to acknowledge the strength of melanated people. And so it's like they want to keep them invisible. However, when you look at history, we've built everything. So it's like, why are y'all asking for permission? Why are y'all asking for, the permission to like exist or be or whatever? And his vantage point of us having that type of dialogue is that he wants to break the cycle. Like he wants to like really use his level of privilege, his level of stature in the community, and be able to like he said, white people don't want to be uncomfortable. So because they don't want to be uncomfortable, they make it seem as if we're deficient.
Wow.
And that's where the sorry comes in.
Mm-hmm. And when I looked online to see what's out there about this concept of saying sorry all the time, and most of the things that I saw said that it has to do with low self-esteem or fear of conflict or focusing too much on what other people think, and it does not take into it. I nowhere have I seen that they talk about the special circumstances of being melanated because it's not just those things for us,
right? So can you break down what the special circumstances would be? Because I think that could be like misleading, like without context, like without like an example of what a special circumstance could actually be.
I'm thinking that the way that a lot of us are trained, if you will, The way a lot of us are trained, especially when we when we go into higher education.
Right.
How we are trained to think a certain way. And how thinking differently changes the way we behave in our professional environments.
As you say that,
I'm trying to give an example. Good. I'm trying to think of it.
Yeah, I was like, let me like, as you say that, it makes me think about the times working in in Delaware County, in Chester to be specific, as an emerging Black woman clinician. And it was another colleague who she joins in our conversation periodically. We did a group and we called it Sister to Sister Snack Chat and Chew. And our colleagues was like, okay, well, why do you have to spell sister with an H on the end? We didn't actually qualify that with an actual answer. But the other dynamic was it was the summertime. And so they wanted to make sure that they had groups. And groups are challenging in that community because of trust and mistrust and having to say sorry unnecessarily for, asking permission to be in certain spaces. Our group became very, very successful because we got vetted by the community. They wanted to make sure we weren't doing research, that we looked like them. And once that word got out, we were influxed and the group was successful, which was great. Other counterparts groups didn't have that same reaction, but we had validation. We saw the individuals as individuals, but that's not really what I was bringing this up for. I was bringing this up for the fact of us as melanated clinicians. It was like we were asking permission to facilitate a conversations that were necessary for our community, and we had to apologize for the community responding to us like the way that they did. Like, yes, they took us through the rites of passage that they take people through, but it was like they wanted to hang out with us. They didn't want to hang out with the others. And they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt validated. Like, this is, 22 years ago, but still, it's still valid today.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, because we had to ask, we didn't have to ask permission, but permission, we had to justify why we chose what we chose and why we were doing the age group that we were doing, why we needed to talk about the topics that we were talking about. And they wanted us to say sorry. They wanted us to justify. They wanted us to do these other topics that don't connect to us individually because it made them comfortable.
That's a special circumstance.
That's what I meant. Like when you said special circumstance, that's the first example that comes to my mind.
Well, when I thought about today and the topic, I was like, I know certain spaces are not for me, even if they're all Black spaces, because even we are comfortable. And I was like, yo, I think I'm a tyrant. Not in a bad way per se, but just I don't do comfortable in what I do in terms of just the trade and education or that background. Comfortable is not good enough because we're still trying to catch up with funding in Philadelphia School District for last 50 years. So nothing has ever been comfortable. Like, we've become comfortable with things, but it's never been comfortable for us. So why should we make other people comfortable so they can be comfortable? Like, that it goes against the grain of what we need to do as educators, clinicians, and people in general. So for me, like, certain situations, I'm like, or certain schools, I can't contract with or work with certain people because I'm like, it's not for me. Like, we don't have the same mission. We don't have the same goal. You want me because of my qualifications, but you really don't want me because you're going to end up hating me no matter what race, ethnicity you are, because I'm here to do a greater work and purpose outside of me. So these kids, they have to own their power. I don't know. I like people to own their power and who they are. And when I see, like, you know how you can look at somebody and see excellence, but they don't see it in themselves. But I told somebody else, and people, I say this all the time, whether you know me or not, people be like, "Oh, you should have bought that." No, I pay full price for something at a black-owned business or whatever. But certain things I don't pay full price for, like just a regular name brand, because white people don't. We've done 400 or more years. We've paid our costs. We paid our price. They just don't say how they get stuff and how they have all this wealth. But have y'all seen the thing about how black people we won't have any wealth by the next 20, 30 years? Because they stop us with the knowledge and education, but that time is over. We have to be uncomfortable with being comfortable so we can live the life we were meant to be as a people. So I think that piece, like the sorry, not sorry, I'm not sorry. No, I'm not. I've always been, so this is who I am in that regard. So not so much like, not a tyrant being like non-compliant, but more so just like, I shouldn't have to say sorry for who I am as a person or just our people in general, melanated people in general. We should be able to go in any space.
So when it comes to us, it's not the typical low self-esteem or problems with conflict. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah, it is a learned behavior.
To stay safe for the most part.
To stay safe and alive. And alive.
I agree.
Yes.
Safe and alive.
Yes. Exactly.
And it's like, in a sense, the fact that we default to saying sorry is really predatory. Because it's like, if they know that they can, whoever it is, they know that if they can, make us feel less than, or that we have to be apologetic in a certain space, then it's seen as, okay, well, we gave you permission to speak. And comfortable, like, I understand what you meant, Camp, when you said it. For me, where I sit as a clinician, comfortable is like a buzzword, like it's a curse word, if you will, because you can't grow in comfort. So it's like we really have to like stretch outside the lines of just accepting status quo and being comfortable, because comfortable means you're not growing. Hey, Daryl, you back on this coast?
Daryl,
hey,
hi.
Daryl, how are you?
Hey guys, no, not yet. I'm not back over there yet, though. I'm still out here in Cali.
Traveling man.
Okay, well, thank you for traveling with us this evening on your time zone.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to speed of what you're talking about.
Okay, well, we'll let you catch up to speed. We
Okay.
we on the sorry, not sorry. I just wanted to hear your lovely voice and have you chime in.
Thank you.
Not that laugh.
For gracing us with your presence.
Right?
I do show up.
You do. Oh my goodness. You do. So Doc, you were mentioning about the character and the self-esteem, and then it just made me think about like all the predatory ways in which we find ourselves saying sorry. Like, it's really, really predatory. Like, it has intention and purpose from cultures that don't look melanated. But it's like, why is that when we've created everything? We've created and built everything.
But do we know that?
And it's also not our daily experience
either. Exactly.
It's not. And even when people tell you, you don't trust it. You don't trust that the fact is the fact, because they've had us brainwashed for so long until you just know that everything that's been said has to be facts, like in a certain sense. But it's like, how do you acknowledge the wrong behavior, and how do you stop internalizing this need to say sorry and change the behavior by educating those who are, maybe not necessarily forcing you to say sorry, but making you feel that that's the response you need at that time. And then I also heard earlier somebody was saying, excuse me. I think it might have been Camp using a word like excuse me. She was in the grocery store. And I think Net said it too in her comments. Is excuse me the same as sorry?
I guess it depends on the context. Excuse me can be just a polite way of asking someone to get out your way. But it could also be another way of saying I'm sorry, depending on why you're saying it or what's the situation that's going on when you say it.
Right. The unmute button came on.
and how you say it, because excuse me, ain't no sorry in that. That means
Step to the plate.
Yeah, you did something wrong. Move on, or it's going to be a problem. So excuse me can be used in many different ways.
Yes. Usually in those situations, do I say excuse you?
Right. Excuse you.
Right.
But I guess I'm thinking about the grocery store like so much because of people watching experiences. And like if there's no space to get through, people tend to find a way to get through without acknowledging that there's not enough space.
Yes.
And I think we end up protecting ourselves, one, by moving out of the way, but then also protecting ourselves it's just by default. We like, oh, I'm sorry, was I in your way? I mean, I used to say that like that, like I didn't know I was in your way. My apologies.
But I don't know. I'm kind of confused. If you're blocking the aisle and I say excuse me to get by, you're in the way.
That's different.
That's a polite way of asking me to that I would like to get by. Excuse me, you're in the way, or I don't want to bump you, so I'm just alerting you that I'm there. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But you don't say I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
I need to get by you.
Right. No.
But we do. In the store all the time. We do. Instead of just saying, "Can I get by?" You just say, "I'm sorry. Can I get by?" Like, why are we sorry? Like, why is that the default messaging that we just automatically go to? Because even when you're working out, like say on Ben Franklin Bridge or on Kelly Drive, and you passing people, you just say, passing on the right, passing on the left, and it's kind of like understood. But even in those instances, you may apologize for being in the way, but you didn't know you was in the way. They're alerting you that they're passing on the left and the right, but it's like again that default.
Right. I see those situations happen a lot, or even me on either side of it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
When they pass left, like I said, it's automatic. It's a default. You don't even think about it till now. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it's wild.
So I wonder how does this also play out in we kind of have mentioned some work situations a little bit, but like it also plays a role in our friendships and relationships, like our intimate relationships.
Right out of my mouth.
Did I? Okay, great. We're on the same page.
Yes.
Because that's where we also experience it, and it also plays like a large part. And a lot of times people are like, okay, well, somebody said it, but did they change their behavior? Because I hear that a lot.
Me too. And a lot of times it's you say it so much that it has no meaning. I'm sorry, and after a while, the person doesn't believe you when you are really sorry for something.
Right. That sorry is just in the argument. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes.
And then colloquially, you be like, my bad. It's that saying I'm sorry. My bad.
But when I hear that, I don't take that. I just feel like it's you're not saying nothing. You're telling me what the hell that you're gonna continue to say the same. It doesn't matter what we're talking about or what the resolution could be or should be. You're just gonna stay the same old. There's no. I don't know. I think that's a way to shut people down.
It is, and find some level of remorse. But when is it okay? I might be taking Doc's word again. When is it okay to hold somebody accountable and like tell them, okay, no, we need to talk about how we both play a role and how we both need to change or benefit from changing our behavior. Because otherwise you're going to continue to default to the sorry. You might even get gifts, or you might become you might isolate or separate yourself and just like, oh, I was busy today, I couldn't text you the 15 times like I usually text you every other day. Yeah. You know, like where does that come into place? Where's that accountability?
And I think in some of those situations, there is that fear of conflict or not knowing how to maneuver through a conflict. Like Daryl said, you just say, I'm sorry to end it. You don't want to have the full discussion. You don't want to talk about your feelings and how we're going to make things different. You know, so I'm sorry, just so it's supposed to just shut it down.
And if it's shut down, it's only temporary because we didn't come up with a resolution. So I'm going to do this same dance the next time that we get to a conversation that, here we go, uncomfortable.
And a lot of times I think people are scared that if they don't say that and they don't shut it down, then it comes with consequences, good, bad, and indifferent, that they don't want to experience or grow from. I mean, it's going to be growing pains, but people don't, like, sometimes people don't feel like growing. They just want to stay where they at, and they just be like, until I'm ready, then we can move forward.
Yeah, but when you going to be ready?
Right. And they don't have no timeline. You just never know. So.
And I know, I know in couple situations when I'm like, okay, we could be at disagreement with each other. However, we don't need to necessarily be, I don't know, Daryl, if you want both of y'all in there.
Do we need two Daryls tonight?
No, we can't do that. Oh God, that made me forget what I was getting ready to say. That really made me forget what I was getting ready to say. I know.
So were you going to talk about being conflict averse, where you don't want to, or you can't handle conflict?
No, but we can go there. Hopefully it's going to come back.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Neil. Oh my God.
What are the so Doc, what are the factors of not being able to handle conflicts, or what happens normally in those situations?
Usually one or both people shut down and there's no more discussion.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, one person shuts down or both people shut down. And you know, what I found is oftentimes it's related to fear. Because people don't understand that conflict can be good, and it can make a relationship grow, and it can cause, because it causes you to be more open and more
like stretching outside the box.
Yes. It's uncomfortable.
So that's like uncomfortable. So that's like if you get cheated on and you find out 5 years later, and it changes your whole life, your scope. Like, it brings you down. But it was 5 years ago. It only happened one time. And so that's something that's conflict that you can work from and build a better relationship, maybe?
Some people can, if cheating is not a deal breaker for them.
Correct.
Okay.
And then because it was 5 years ago and you found out, if lying is a deal breaker for you and cheating isn't, the relationship still might end. Because that was 5 years ago. Why am I just finding out now?
Correct.
Because you just found out.
And usually when you find out stuff like that, it's not in a good way.
Right.
Somebody done told you something. Right. It doesn't usually come from your mate.
True.
Is it ever a good way to find out that stuff?
Well, from an intake that I had this week, I'm going to say it can be.
Okay.
It can be. And I mean, that was a wild intake, but yes, it can be. He went on a trip with his boys from high school. And they acted like they were in high school. And 2 days coming back from the trip, he was like, yo, I cheated. I mean, and I cheated bad. His pictures and everything. Like he just said like the whole nine. And yeah. So now they're trying to come into counseling. And so
I would say there are better ways than others.
there are, yeah.
Oh, I don't know about any good ways, but I go with better ways than others. Like, yo, this is what I did. I don't know if that's good either. Yo, this is what I did. It's pictures and everything. I don't know if I'm be happy
Yeah,
about that
I don't know
either.
that it was necessarily good, but I think the time frame, like when Camp said 5 years and you just find out, and the time frame, like 2 days after his trip, he wasn't in good energy space coming back into his house. Like he felt like, no, this is not right. I gotta tell my wife.
Sometimes you slip and fall, and it's not that big of a deal to the other mate.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a big
Exactly.
deal, but I don't want to put it out like that. But I'm just saying
It depends on
sometimes
your
they,
non-negotiable.
yeah, they understand the circumstances.
Mhm.
And
It's like a throwback,
having sex with somebody else is not always a deal breaker.
right?
It's not a deal breaker for every couple.
No, don't lose your man over that.
You know what, Daryl?
Girl,
We're
here
not
you
going
go.
there with you.
I
Right.
mean, yeah, like
We already
I'm
know you
just-
started this conversation in the group. Like,
right. I was just thinking of just like when you said the adverse conflict averse. So if somebody came back and told their wife that and they don't do conflict, well, maybe they just like, well, it was happened just one time. It's not like they go on a trip with their boys every year or every month or once in a lifetime. They're just catching up. I'm
right.
just saying.
If the wife is conflict averse, she might shut down. She
Mhm.
might not want to talk about it,
Mhm.
and it just internalize all that negativity instead of
she's-
having a discussion about how she feels about this.
And
And
she's
then
walking
it's
around feeling sorry because she's like, okay, I'm sorry because I must have done something wrong. I must have made you feel like you needed somebody else. Oh, you did ask me to try X, Y, and Z, and I didn't. So you went out to get it. Like, but that sorry comes into that mix.
True, but sometimes it may be in that situation. I wouldn't say it was on purpose. Sometimes I'm not saying it just happened either.
Right.
It was just in the space
Heat
of
of
the
the
energy.
heat of the vacation. The vacation.
Right, with the boy.
Was
I'm just
yes.
saying. That's what
Daryl, you would say yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
No, I can get it. That where
No,
he got caught up in the
Yeah.
everybody else is doing it, and before I knew it, and I guess the fact that he was so honest about it later kind of says like, I got caught up in, this.
And the fact that he came 2 days later, like he came back home and told her today, I think that's admirable because most people I know would just hide it and not say nothing.
Right.
Till 5 years later.
5 years later, they come stumbling across this information
or these
and
pictures.
want to be like, I apologize.
I apologize. So they would be apologizing for getting caught with pictures, but not apologize for the actual act. So I think it's kind of something you can work through at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like Daryl said, don't lose your man over one time.
Well,
You need to go to the post in the group and see if you still gonna
No,
say.
I did. No.
Okay.
She responded on that.
I read it. I went through the post. I didn't comment, but at the same time, I'm not saying that's my life, but I'm just saying I get what Daryl was saying. That's all.
Ruth, can you help me out? We got people agreeing with Daryl already.
And he posted a picture of Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Right.
I mean, he did, but that's a great example of sorry. I don't know. I feel like that's a good example.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
But okay.
Don't lose your man.
Oh, a little something like that. It's a little something.
That's a lot of something. It's a lot.
That is a lot of something.
It is. No, it's true. It's true. It's a lot of stuff, and it really depends on the person. Depends on the relationship. It depends on a lot of things.
Right.
But I would say don't lose your man over something like that.
So what about if you're working towards working towards building your self-esteem and your confidence in certain areas, yet you're constantly being held accountable for not being that person, like for not stepping up to the plate. So yeah, like, and you constantly feel like you're saying sorry because of your insecurities of stepping up to the plate in certain ways, but you're not doing anything to, I guess, correct those insecurities. Like if it's sexual insecurities, if you don't, oh my God, are we PG-13? I didn't put the PG-13 up today. If you don't do the say oral favors, and your husband or boyfriend goes out and gets that done, like, are you sorry? Are you beating yourself up? Are you second guessing the validity of you in a relationship because every time they want that experience, they have to go out?
I wouldn't beat myself up about it because maybe that person is not the person for you.
Right. I agree.
I just think sometimes you know your flavor and you know your set of what that includes, even if we're all evolving and changing. I think
So that's what them
Sexual
conversations you had earlier.
compatibility. Sexual
yeah,
compatibility is another area of being, in sync with your partner.
partner.
And if you're not sexually compatible, I mean, what are you gonna do?
You gotta be in sync with yourself and know what your limits are. Again, that go back to those non-negotiables. Like if this is not something you're willing to do, and that person wants you to do it, then be like, hey, guess what? We ain't really, we can't work then.
Right.
I was that made me think about. So I'm thinking about celebrities now.
Okay.
It made me think about Gucci Mane.
Oh, goodness.
Because he talks about he had it was an interview or something where he talked about his wife doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He
Right,
doesn't
I saw
want her
that.
to do that because he has her on a pedestal up
Pedestal.
here.
With
But
the
in
vision
every
of her.
song, he talking about getting his.
Yes.
I was going to say it the wrong way.
Yes.
He's talking about getting oral sex.
Yeah, but we know that's a lot of what they rap about is fantasy. It's not real.
So what
Well,
is
no,
the-
we know that because of the positioning that we have in life. Everybody doesn't know that that's a fantasy. Some people is out here trying to try and live their best life and try
On
what the
everything.
song said. Yes.
Right.
Or what the reality show said, and then they getting tricked up with being successful in their relationship with creating their non-negotiables and just having some reciprocity or fairness and balance, and they don't know how to do it.
So if your partner doesn't do something that you really like, how do you?
It's a mess. I didn't change this whole
How
How do you remain faithful?
Wait a minute. I don't know about that, but I mean, how are they your partner? If they're not, if you guys can't be in that
Well,
foxhole
if you
together.
married them, they're legally your partner.
Well, wait. But what I'm saying is that if you got to that point, you don't last that long, then you might as well just keep going.
Unsatisfied, unhappy, always feeling like you're walking on eggshells.
Well, again,
Well,
if you got to that
question.
point of marriage through all that, then I mean, at that point,
Must
what
not
you
be
gonna
that
do?
important.
Right? It couldn't have been.
Right.
So why you keep
That's
going
more-
forward?
Yeah.
Unless it was like after we get married, we're gonna put this on the table, like something like that. Other than that, you got married, so I don't. How did you get there? My question: how would you get there then? If it's so important, how did you get there without it?
And some people may have like how couples have contracts, or they may have other agreements where they don't consider that cheating because there's something they don't do, but there's other things in a relationship that they benefit from in terms of whether it's emotional, sexually, financially, whatever, or just as a partner. So sometimes the other stuff outweighs that. And if your man or woman goes get whatever done, you're just like, all right, I'm not doing it, but I know as long as they protect themselves. I don't know. Some couples have negotiations or
They do.
over stuff like that. So I don't assume when it comes down to that.
I don't assume either. And I just be put in a position that I got to ask more questions so I can understand how to support because, it's not my life. I'm not living it, but I need to know how to support you all in the way that you are.
We did take this on a whole different this conversation down a whole different way.
I'm sorry.
I know you
Yeah, but if it's your man or your husband going out getting it done every time, so when they feel like it, they're like, "I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because it was good." I mean, like how that would take you down a notch. I mean, you would probably feel a certain type of way.
Yes, of course.
And then, like,
if you say you don't do it, once you find out that, I mean, if you love this person and you find out that other people are doing it for them, it may make you feel,
how'd you get to
make
the point
you
of
feel
love?
something.
How you get to the point of love? I'm confused.
But it reminds me of the best man type of like she didn't mind doing it, but she wasn't good at it. So at that point, the husband didn't want it done by her anyway. He's like, you're better at other things. So at that point,
But then like this internalize a value of self
right.
that you feel so apologetic, like, oh my God, I want my partner to be happy, and yet I can't do all things that they want. I'm sorry. I'm internalizing that. I'm having some I'm sorry. I'm having some moments some moments that create like a situation that is impacting people.
Yeah, impact your self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you already have a fragile ego or low self-esteem, it just makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find yourself apologizing all the time, everywhere,
For no reason.
for no
But
reason.
they have like toys and other stuff where you can use on your man if you don't do it, but that feels type of similar. So there's options out there.
I'm so sorry. What are we talking? We're all over the place.
Right. Right. So we do have options out there, but Daryl, we was trying to talk about the internalized feelings that come.
But I'm saying that's a part of the internalized feelings. Saying sorry, not sorry. I'm just saying. So
sorry, not sorry. You can't go out, but like, listen, I got you covered.
I got you covered in other ways, and we can try to get that get that feeling or get what you're looking for.
But it can lead to that, beating yourself up.
Correct.
Because you can't, quote unquote, do these things, or you're not good at.
You're telling yourself that you're not good, and you're blocked.
There's a difference of really can't do it, or you just won't do it, or you willing to do it.
You're right. There is a difference between I choose not to do this because I don't want to, or feeling like you or being made to feel like you're not good at it, so you shouldn't
do it. Right? There's a difference. Yes.
Yeah. If your partner says, "Hey," every time you start to go down, they like, come back up here. Come back up here.
But that response ends up shutting you down.
Sorry, not sorry.
Like, sorry, not sorry. Right.
Not trying to be funny, but this ain't working. This ain't going down.
That when you excuse me, where are you going?
Yes, it could be.
Excuse me.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, I thought we talked about this before, that wasn't, that we wasn't there. But then on the other side, if you realize that the capacity of your partner has a area of deficiency, then that's a conversation. Not necessarily that you have to come to counseling about, but like a conversation where you could figure out how you're not going to make that person feel insufficient.
Yes.
And like, and make them feel like, okay, I could just imagine what Daryl is going to say to this. You can have a conversation or even a way to practice doing it the right way.
Yes.
Right. I was going to say your mate could pay for fellatio classes for you. I mean, there's tons of options.
And I always tell people, when they put sex on the table as a deal breaker, it's like good sex can be taught. Can be taught. You can show and tell somebody what you need and what you want from them. I know it's a difficult conversation a lot of times.
That is. That's a different theory. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation, but there are ways to make it fun. There are ways to make it not so intimidating. There are games you can play.
Definitely. So are we saying that the only time in the relationship, because I believe this is the question that got us into this rabbit hole, are we saying the only time that the sorry, not sorry shows up in partnered relationships is when there's a deficiency sex-wise?
Nah.
That's where we're stuck at. That's where we're stuck at.
That's where we got stuck. But that's not true.
Okay, pull us back out the water because like something is happening.
Sorry, I gotta work late again.
Oh, I think about sorry, not sorry if you're choosing not to be emotionally available or making time, prioritizing in your relationship. You got stuff going on. Everybody got something going on, but it's about how does that look? But depending on your goals and what you got going on, depends on what you're trying to get done in a certain time frame. Sorry, not sorry. Like there's like, I gotta work again tonight. I'm going to the bar. I'm going to the bar with the fellas.
Right.
Third night in a row. I'm just saying, like that's an example.
And it could be a thing where like work is really difficult, and that release with the
Right,
fellas
right.
is really what you need. It's not that you just need that. So you're like, I'm sorry, but I need this, you know, for my mental. I need this to go and just let this steam off. And you know, you could be apologizing for that. Sorry. I could see how it could be a problem if you're not home, you're working all the time, then you go do this. But sometimes you need that mental health day for yourself, or days. 3 of them, it sounds like.
And that's where conversation and communication has to come in, because if you're doing it and your mate is not understanding why or how you operate on that level, it could surely it's gonna be a problem.
They may understand, but still not want you to take that space.
Oh, you saying they may understand, but not want.
Yeah, they may
that.
understand totally, but they're like, nah, why don't you do that at home, or why can't you do that with me? Sometimes
that's a hit to people's self-esteem and ego too.
So then what's the safest way to talk about it without pushing you further into isolation or feeling like a lack of self?
Therapy. I think it's one of those where it's if you have two sides where you need a referee, you need someone to come in to be impartial, to kind of maybe, because both sides are not really, if I feel like I really need this break, these 3 days to whatever, and you feel like, you know, well, I want to be there, or, you know, do it with me or do it at home, and that's not really effective, then you're going to need someone else to help out.
But how many sessions we gotta get to get to the to get her to do what she need to do, or to get him to do what we need to do?
Well, 3 days.
I mean, that's the questions we get. Like,
and 3 days may not be enough for your mental health, though. To be honest, 3 days may not be enough. That's just to help you cope with the basics. I don't see where 3 days is enough.
I must have missed the 3 days. That you taking a retreat to get the services you need?
No, Daryl was saying, go ahead.
No, you were saying something like, say if you had to go out for work, after work, you just need to relax. It was, you know, whatever your job, and you want to hang out with the boys, just to let off some steam before you go home. And it's like 3 days a week. I don't know how we got 3 days, but we just picked 3 days.
Okay.
Because I had mentioned just 3 days. Like if you decide to go out to the bar, but it works, and you come home happier and more
that's what you need.
more functionable in the household, whatever it may be.
Like you really need that.
Yeah.
And you know, you may understand that being home. Like I understand you need that, but how about you do it with me? But then doing it with you is kind of doesn't allow me to be with the guys.
Yeah.
Right. It's different. It's different when the woman's around. Everybody's just different. Well, guys may be different. They may not talk the same out of respect for her. But when you're not there, you can just be different. So you might need that space. And I could be upset, you know, you might be apologizing for like, I'm sorry, but I have to, well, I feel like I need this.
So then I'm wondering if you have to say sorry for going on a trip or going to play ball or hanging out with the girls, like whatever it is that you do that helps you kind of refuel. What's the thing behind the reason why you got to say you're sorry? Like,
well, because I know it's hurting you or taken from you, or you're feeling some type of way because of my actions. Inadvertently, me getting this, looking for peace, I know it's causing you some unrest, right? Because we're discussing it. We're going back and forth about it, and we're on opposite ends. I'm saying I need this. You're saying, well, I would rather you do this with me or come, and it's just so obviously it's some issues. So the sorry would be just because I understand it's causing some strife between us.
So you attach to the outcome and fearful of being alone. So you're going to say sorry, and not change behavior to just accommodate being connected to somebody.
That
was real therapeutic and clinical.
Was it?
It was, because I got it, but it was clinical. So I would say the other
kind of get
person,
it.
the other person may be like they're being held accountable, the other person, and they might not, the person that's not going away, but they may know they need to do some work or fearful that you're gonna come back a little different. Or no, I'm just sorry, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do this, but that ain't good enough.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's not. So I think it requires a little bit more conversation, communication.
Mhm.
It requires ongoing.
Mhm.
Like Daryl said, the middle person, either therapist, clinician, somebody, mediator, something.
Not your mom.
Oh, I was about to say that.
Not your girlfriend at the
Not
nail
your
salon.
girlfriend.
Right.
Not your homies on the court.
Oh, because they can
I
get you in
promise
trouble.
they'll be impartial. I promise they'll be impartial.
Are you sure about
Mhm.
that?
They
Impartial?
gonna
They
be
keep it.
slanted.
They keep it 100 all the time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, but them same people that keep it 100, y'all had a bet to all take off your wedding bands and get La Vida Loca in Vegas.
You
We
ain't
don't know
gotta
what
take off the wedding band. You keep it
is
on. Who
made.
cares?
Is made that all we're doing is going to chips and beer at the bar. I don't know.
Okay, Chips.
Okay, chips and beer at the bar. That's it.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, like, Doc, is any other ways that it shows up for therapy?
I think when couples are at opposite ends of
Mhm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
like if one partner wants children, the other partner doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
If the other partner,
What? You should have been
That
talked about that.
yeah.
yeah.
Are these
But a
married
lot of
couples?
people don't.
What
A lot of people don't.
Are these married couples?
I find is
Sometimes
that
not.
Okay.
I find that even when these discussions are held at the beginning, sometimes people think they're going to change the other person's mind,
Right.
and
Gotcha.
they think that marriage does that.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about married people,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
they think that once we get married, that's going to be different.
Oh yeah, marriage is the pill for happiness.
That's the
Yeah.
pill. It's
Yeah.
an investment. It's a heavy investment, but
Right.
they're looking at the financial investment and not the emotional investment and taking honest inventory.
Right.
Marriage is not for the weak.
And they,
Life ain't for the weak.
Right.
a lot of people believe that marriage changes everything.
Right.
For some people, it does though.
Does it?
No, I ain't talking about for better, but for some people, for the worse. Like I know, seriously, like the day or two after they get married, they totally different.
Mm-hmm. And they could have been together for like 10 years, 7
Yeah,
years.
and they stopped doing what they
Right.
was doing to catch that person, and then it's like, really, this the monster you was? You was just waiting to show me this monster?
I think that's what happens, sometimes when people have been together 10, 12 years and then decide to get married and then divorce a year or two later.
Right.
Because one or both of the partners thought something was going to change.
Mm-hmm.
They thought that something was going to be different once they got married.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes I think it does change. It's them invisible, we'll say, ropes or handcuffs that you have sometimes that are more official, which makes it more kind of in your mind hard walls now that you didn't have before.
I also hear or see how people are like, well, if I'm gonna put up with her crap or his crap, I'd rather be the husband or I'd rather be the wife. What difference does it make? Like if you're married or not married, at that point when you've been with the person 10 or 15 years and you've been putting up with their crap, but you like, well, I'm the wife, huh? I'm just saying sometimes yeah. I feel like sometimes the mistress or the side chick, they have more pull than you do. And
Right.
you the wife. So I just don't think that's realistic.
Right.
That's
Right.
all.
Not on
Doc,
paper, they don't.
Daryl had said the ropes and the handcuffs. I was like, okay, come with these ropes and handcuffs.
I mean, for some people, it's like it could be like, I don't know, cha-ching, solitude, prison bars. I don't look at marriage like that. I'm just saying.
But I think like even if we flip the script of the ropes and the handcuffs, like it's a mindset. Like
Right.
it's a mindset that you have grown up with needing to ask permission to someone else to do something, and when they don't agree with what it is that you're asking or receive what it is that you would like to learn more about, then you'd be like, oh, I'm sorry for thinking outside the box, or I'm sorry for thinking that you would hear my suggestion towards whatever. So it's a it becomes like a learned capacity and learned behavior that you have overall.
You talking about apologizing
Without the change behavior.
Yes, it can just become a habit. This is how I respond in these situations. For sure. And it means nothing.
I just think about take me as I am. Sorry, but not sorry. This is who I am.
Yeah, but even on the take me as I am, that's not fair.
Wow.
No, it's not. Exactly. It's not fair at all. But that's what I think about. Sorry, not sorry. Like, you just in a relationship.
Like, you better be glad you in a relationship with me. What you mean?
You better be glad I like you.
Better
enough
be
to be with you.
I like you.
To just even talk to you or be with you. Sorry, not sorry. No, that's not good.
No, not at all. That'll have you apologizing all the time after you start taking responsibility for your partner's bad behaviors.
Okay, you need to say that again. You need to say that again. Like, you taking responsibility for your partner's behavior.
Bad behaviors.
Sorry.
Saying sorry. Apologizing to your friends, apologizing to your family members, apologizing to their friends.
On why you can't do, why he can't do, why we can't do. You're the face of sorry.
Yes.
But they take no accountability. Girl, you done said a word right there. You need to type that up and put it in a book. It might be in the book. It is what it is. Who knows?
But we see it. We see it. When you feel that you are responsible for other people, then you take account. You become accountable for all that they do.
I'm sorry they acting like that. She ain't really mean it.
Yes.
I mean, you know how she is. She going through a tough time right now. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. But she'll be better next time.
And next time, no, she not.
No, she not.
She not. That's just like at the Red Cup Chronicles at the cookout. As soon as the person get enough of that red cup juice, that it's about to be the turn up.
All the way up.
All the way. With no filter. And so thinking about like how we end up apologizing at work, it's also, if we're imbalanced in our home relationship, then we're also trying to look for that same comfortability, acceptance, validation in the workplace. And we don't even have a regulator to kind of say, oh, I'm doing this because I'm mad at X at home, or vice versa. Something happened at work and now everybody at home is being held accountable. And it's like, okay, wait, why am I apologizing all the time? Like, why am I insufficient? And you're not saying that, but like,
right. But you're taking responsibility for all the stuff that's happening.
Right. For people not understanding what you're trying to say. Or apologizing because you want to ask a good question.
Right. Why do you need to be sorry? Because you need someone else to be clear about their thoughts.
Or you have a job, but there's no, how you say it? They don't have your your job duties or obligations listed, but they want you to do everybody else's job.
Because we short.
Yeah,
I'm not hiring nobody else no time soon, so you just gotta.
I'm sorry, but no, that's their job. Like, they have to be held accountable for that if they're your boss. Your job comes with certain duties or actions, obligations that you're supposed to do.
Well, a lot of times we are uncomfortable.
Right.
In those situations. So we're uncomfortable and sometimes fearful. So we won't say, I'm not doing that. That's not my responsibility. We want to say that.
Well,
You know,
Camp and Daryl said that they would when we had that show. They said that they would just tell the people I ain't doing it.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And Daryl said he going home.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's not
Now I
a
got a headache.
that's
Yeah.
not
See you in
that's not a
6
hard
months.
thing for me. I just started saying, "Oh, I feel like it's a hostile work environment." I know the key words.
But
Yeah,
a lot of people, other people would say, "I'm sorry. I really apologize. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's too much for me. I'm sorry. I'm so overworked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's their fault."
Mm-hmm.
right.
I just say I'm sorry. I'm about to leave.
I don't even say that.
I'm sorry
You
about
just
the-
leave.
Yeah.
No,
like,
well, one time I was in a situation I did say hostile work environment. I was like, "Oh yeah, I already I said, yeah, I already texted my husband. He'll be here in 5 minutes." "Oh no, you have him coming up here too?" I said, "Well, he's not. He's an advocate. He's here, peaceful terms. I'm just gonna walk out and go home." I said, "I'll see you tomorrow if things are straightened out. If not, I don't do hostile."
But how can we equip people who are living this sorry experience with being able to, like, have maybe some resources on not falling into the insecurities or not falling into, like, still the default messaging? Like, what could we share with them that they can live life a little different?
well, first you gotta make people aware that, like I said, this is making people aware of it. Because until we kind of talked about it, I wasn't. You do it. Like I said, it's automatic response. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you don't realize you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking like, well, what did I say I'm sorry for? I didn't do anything wrong. Like I was standing here, or even sometime when I may pass somebody in the store. Excuse me, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sorry for getting by. Like what do you, like you don't realize you're doing it. So it's basically almost a part. Like I said, it's something we do automatic at this point. So we have to learn not to do it. Like what are you saying sorry for at that point?
Right. But
I
even
think
when you
part of
ask
that
people,
is,
go ahead.
and I was going to say, I think part of that is becoming mindful. I'm always telling people, you don't have to respond to things split second right away.
Hmm.
People will wait for you to respond if you take a few seconds to think before you respond.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you the opportunity to kind of reflect on what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Stop reacting and respond.
Yes.
Exactly. And be
Gotcha.
present.
Mhm.
And then you can ask yourself, is an apology necessary? Because in some situations it might be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can take that few seconds and say to yourself, is this necessary? So you got to notice what you're thinking and feeling
That's a good
and
point.
what just happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I be like, when somebody tries to apologize to me, like about something, I don't want an apology. And I try to be like, okay, let the person apologize. Why are they apologizing? My thing is just change your behavior next time. I'm good. Like, why
But
are
when
you
you ask somebody why you apologizing, they usually can't give you a
no,
reason.
but even with time, a couple of minutes, like let's say 4 or 5 minutes, they still don't know why they're apologizing.
Mm-hmm.
So why apologize? You're not sorry.
Because
But
they
if
know
it's
they've
on
been told.
automatic,
But it's
it's on
automatic, yeah.
automatic. Yeah.
They've been
They
told
just
that's
come
the way
out.
we got to do to exist. We got to ask for permission, or
Mhm.
always. I guess it's like almost in the beginning we were talking about this, like feeling like we're in the way
Yeah.
just by breathing.
Mhm. So what are some things we think we should not apologize for?
Nothing. Say
Living a life you want to live.
Yes, that's a good one. I don't think we should apologize for how we feel.
no, because how you feel is how you feel,
That's right.
and
Should not,
nobody can change how it is that you feel.
or how
How
I
you
decided to wear my
express
hair.
how you express how you feel could be a problem.
That's where the problem, right?
That's it.
Okay, that could be an expression. If you express it in a way that was not nice, you can apologize for that. But like I said, how you feel, you shouldn't have to apologize for.
Where I
Mm-hmm.
go and where I exist, where I choose to exist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What about apologizing for things you know you didn't do? How about that?
And sometimes people do that just to end the argument.
Yes.
Like, let me just
Yeah.
apologize because then that's gonna shut her up.
I don't do
But
that.
should you apologize for things you didn't do?
No.
No.
Like, why am I taking that on? That's somebody else's cause
Right.
or
And
somebody
that
else's
means you're
action.
indirectly blaming yourself for
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
that falls into the how people are utilizing the term narcissist behavior,
Mm-hmm.
where they take what you're saying and flip it around and make you at fault for saying it. And then you begin to believe it that the sky is not blue, it must be green because they told me it was green and I got to believe everything that they say. No, that's when you know, okay, that person is not the best person for you to be around, because it's like they never accommodate, they never try to understand like where the misleading conversation went to that has you saying you're sorry for something that they did. So, any other fun facts?
What about asking for something that you need?
Mm,
You shouldn't be
that's a
sorry
big
for
one.
that. That is a big one. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And some
It's a hard
people
thing.
are, in the habits of apologizing for needing things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or don't want to ask because they felt deficient or bad or ridiculed, belittled, whatever, and they don't want to feel that no more.
But they feel like, I know people like this, like not needing help but not asking for help. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Definitely. Daryl, you got any more?
I'm sorry. I don't.
I see where this is gonna go from this show forward. We're coming with Daryl. Like, I'm sorry, can you explain that to me? Or I'm sorry, do you have the facts? Do you have the research that supports this conversation?
Should you apologize for how you present, like how you look, how you dress, how you choose to wear your hair?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Y'all putting so many songs in my head. Like my Fire for 2004.
Ah,
That's a different year. 2022.
I
Okay.
forgot about that song.
I know, but that song, when I keep hearing this sorry, that's all I can think in my head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely forgot about that song. Um, I don't know, you all listening and viewing, like anything that you have said sorry for that is a non-negotiable, or that you're still having difficulties with even after participating in the conversation. I know it's a delay when we ask questions like that in regards to the time that people type it and then actually post it, but figure we might as well, throw it over to you, because I would think that at least two of the people who are engaged in this conversation actually inspired the conversation, like, because we were talking about something a few weeks ago and one or both of them got engaged on the whole sorry thing. So just wondering if it's any other thoughts, any other feedback. And if not, we can wrap up the show. We can wrap up the conversation, and hope that the nuggets that we gave have been beneficial and helpful to you. If you do drop something in the comments, we can, definitely come back and, show you some love on the comments, show you some feedback. If you are catching us on the replay, let us know your thoughts with #replay. And we appreciate you all for coming in the conversation. Like, definitely. As always, You have any topics or things that you would like to suggest? Just as we got around to this one, we will definitely add you on to the schedule of conversations. And again, we look forward to seeing you next Friday at 8 o'clock.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.